Hi, in this video I am going to talk about IUCN protected areas. In the previous video I also already introduced there are 7 different types of areas designated as protected areas under IUCN. So we will be seeing each of these areas in details in this video. 1A IUCN protected area is called strict natural reserves. It is the highest category of protected areas. The IUCN is giving the highest rank is the strict natural reserves. These areas are strictly set aside for protecting of biodiversity and geological features. No human activities are permitted in this area. Human visitation, use and impacts are strictly controlled and limited to ensure protection of the conservation. It is serves as an indispensable reference area for scientific research and monitoring. There should be some areas in this globe where there is no human activities are there, so that for at least for the research purpose we can use it as a reference material. Without human activities, what happens? That type of reference is given from this IUCN 1A type of protected area, which is called strict natural reserves. Example for the 1A area is the Antarctica. It is the highly conserved area. Next, 1B. 1B is wilderness area. They are the large unmodified or slightly modified area. It retain their natural characteristics and influence, but not as much as the 1A area. It should be without any permanent human habitation. These areas, the 1B protected area should not have any permanent human habitation. Free from modern infrastructure, no homes, no dams, so nothing will be permitted there. Protected and managed so as to preserve their natural conditions. Example is the Drinstein Wilderness Area, Austria. Type 2 IUCN protected area are called a national park. You guys are already know about the national parks in India. They are large natural or near natural areas set aside to protect large scale ecological process. So the area for the national park will be very high, very large. It complements so species and ecosystem characteristics of area. It provides foundation for environmentally and culturally compatible spiritual, scientific, educational, recreational and visitor purposes. We can actually go to a national park, but there will be some areas open for the visitors and some of them will be conserved. So national park, actually there may be human settlements there, tribal population will be living there, there may be local communities there, and there will be some areas will be open for maybe spiritual purposes, maybe research purposes, or educational, recreational, or just for visitor opportunities will be there. But there is strict distinction between where you can go and where you cannot. But some areas will be like the strict restriction will be in the area, and no other human activities will be allowed, like industries or things like that should not be allowed in the national park. One of the classical example of the national parks is the Yellowstone National Park, which is the first national park of the world. Type 3 areas are the natural monuments. They are protected areas set aside to protect specific natural monument. It can be a landform, seamount, or submarine cavern, geological features such as caves or living features. So these are more known for their natural or geomorphological importance, not for the biodiversity, but they are protected so that along with that natural characteristics, geomorphological features, the biodiversity along with that will be also protected. They are generally quite small protected areas and often having high visitor value. So people will be happy to go there, like the waterfalls, cliffs, or caves. So many people are visiting there, but they are a sort of protected areas. The commercial buildings and everything will be restricted. Natural Bridges of National Monument USA is an example of this type of area. Maybe our Adrapalli waterfalls is an example of that type of protected area. The area surrounding that waterfall is actually protected. You cannot actually cross the river and go there. So those types of monuments are also a part of natural conservation. Type 4 type of IUCN protected areas is called habitat management. They are protected area to maintain, conserve and restore particular species and habitat. These type of areas are managed in such a way that some type of species should be protected, like the sanctuaries. They made for the conservation of a specific type of species, maybe they are endangered or something like that. So in these areas, human activities are permitted in a way that it won't affect the habitat of the specific species which is under extinction. It may need regular active interventions to address requirements of a particular species or to maintain habitat. So all activities which do not affect that particular species is allowed there. Protect critically endangered species in this habitat management plan. It protect rare or threatened species and their habitats. Example is the National Chambal Sanctuary in MP. It is actually made to protect this guy. Protected landscape, a protected area where people and nature interact. Actually, in these areas, where people are also actually welcome for visit and everything for recreational activities. But there are some restrictions to protect the natural beauty and biodiversity of that area. Area of distinct character with a significant ecological, biological, cultural, and scenic value. It is safeguarding the integrity of this interaction is vital to protecting and sustaining the area and its associated natural conservation. In these areas, what we want to do is we want to protect its natural beauty along with the biodiversity. So it's like we are going to the Munnar to see the Neelakurunji. So in order to have that particular plant there, the whole habitat should be protected. If you are actually not protecting that habitat, there won't be that plants blooming. One example of such type of protection is called Apo Island seascape in Philippines. We are actually protecting this landscape because of its natural beauty. Protected sustainable areas, the protected areas that conserve ecosystem and habitat together with the associated cultural and traditional value. These are the last in the list. As I said before, the most of human activities are allowed in this area in a sustainable manner. So we are actually protecting the culture and tradition of that area also. Maybe some cultural practices or the tribal settlements may have the interesting visitor value or the tourism value, so we are protecting such things. Sustainable natural resource management is practiced there so that it won't affect the ecosystem much. Low level non-industrial use of natural resources is permitted. Maybe they have the hotels or the recreational activities are allowed there, but the activities which cause the harm to the environment won't be allowed. Mutually beneficial conservation and sustainable conservation and sustainable use is practiced in the protected sustainable areas. One example is Annapurna Conservation Area in Nepal. So those are the seven different categories of IUCN protected areas. These all protected areas are practicing in situ conservation of biodiversity. In the following videos, I will be talking about specifically about the national park, bioreserves and sanctuaries. Thank you so much for listening.